what the detractors and the critics of electric vehicles have been saying for years is true. The electric vehicle is not for everybody. Given the limited range, it can only meet the needs of 90% of the population.
I figure if I do my job well enough, my son will never know a time before there were electric cars on the road. And he rode in an EV1 on the way over here, and he said, I wish we could keep the EV1 for a long time. And all I could say was, me too.
By the summer of 2004, there was only a single EV1 left in private hands in Southern California.
Today is D-Day. Today is the end.
GM did do it right. They did create a great, great car. It's well engineered, it's well designed, and it's enjoyable to drive. I've never seen a company be so cannibalistic about its own product before. It's such an odd experience.
With no more electric cars on the road, General Motors now had possession of their entire EV1 fleet. Why did they want them back? What were they going to do with these cars?
We had discovered 78 EV1s parked in the back parking lot of a facility that GM owns in Burbank.
But taking off the cars that were on the road, that were running fine, just let those people drive those cars until they can't drive them anymore.
Where are you guys from?
We're members of the EV1 Club, and we want to come and take a look at our cars. I know they're being mothballed here.
Yeah, I have no authorization for you guys to come back there and look at the cars.
Can we just go and, like...
No.
There were no clues as to where the cars were going.
There they are. Wow. We flew over General Motors, and looking down, we could see right next to the racetrack where the EV1 was first tested, we saw, I don't know, maybe 50 EV1s crushed and put on top of semi-flatbeds right next to the yellow crusher. General Motors is almost finished off. I think, I don't imagine there's very many EV1s left that haven't been crushed out. It's pretty sad.
They're one of four things that will happen with the EV1s. They'll go to colleges and universities, engineering schools. They'll go to museums and other displays across the country. Other EV1 vehicles are being driven by our engineers, and the other option for the EV1s at the end of their life is recycling. But know that every part of the EV1 is going to be recycled, dismantled through a third party, and then reused. Everything is going to be recycled. We're not just going to crush it and send it off to a landfill.
A number of Ford Thinks and Ranger electric trucks were discovered in Palm Springs and rumored to be set for destruction. In Los Angeles, activists spotted a truckload of Toyota RAV4 EVs. Fearing the destination was a crushing facility, they chased it. The next morning, the truck turned back.
That guy was going as fast as he possibly could in a big transport like that, trying to lose us, it was clear, but wasn't able to do it, and of course that did change Toyota's plans. It was so inconsistent, they didn't know what the hell to do.
Then he goes to the end of the pier, and these two big security guards come out. They open this locked gate, the truck goes inside, and then the security guards come out and surveil us.
Somehow we ended up at this godforsaken place.
Which has everything. It has spewing smoke into the harbor that kids have to breathe. It has an oil well, and it has Toyota, which is supposed to be the greenest car company, but which is simultaneously crushing and hiding the fact that they're crushing clean RAV4 EVs instead of selling them to willing customers.
No one had seen Honda's electric cars since they were taken from customers. Then, an episode of California's Green aired on PBS.
So we're going to be able to see cars shredded today.
Absolutely.
Which is not something most of us get to see.
We shred the car, about a car a minute, 1,000 cars a day on a good day.
And what's interesting, the first thing we noticed when we drove up here, you're going to be shredding some new cars here, too. These look like perfectly good cars. Why are you shredding them up?
A little bit of a mystery, really, since I've been here the last 8 years. They bring us these cars from the dealerships, and they say that they're test cars, and they've been brought over to test various emissions, and the insurance companies won't reinsure them, so they have to watch them destroyed here.
Boy, that seems like a shame.
It's terrible.
I'd like to drive off in one of these things. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the sound of a crushed automobile being shredded into 1,000,000 pieces.
There's no precedent for a car company rounding up every one of a particular kind of car and crushing them as if they're afraid one might get away.
I don't think they wanted to be sure that none of them were driving around the streets anymore to remind people that there is such a thing as an electric car.
People keep making all these analogies about, crushing the EV is a betrayal of the American dream. It's not a dream. I mean, it's here now. It may be a betrayal of my dream, but it's a betrayal of the American reality.
As the EV activist recorded the VIN numbers of the cars in storage, Chelsea led a last-ditch effort to buy the cars from GM.
Okay, General Motors contends that no one wants these EV1s here. Would anybody be willing to buy them for the residual price of the lease? And within 48 hours, over 80 people had signed up. And there were only 78 cars in that lot, and already we had a waiting list for a car that wasn't available. I mean, it was a tremendous deja vu moment.
So at this point, we thought it would be appropriate to come full circle, join me in holding this check offering $1.9 million to General Motors to put these cars back on the road.
Despite the offer, GM did not respond. The fate of the last 78 EV1s remained in doubt. A small group of activists would continue their vigil to keep the dream of the electric car alive.
Who controls the future? Whoever has the biggest club. It's in more ways than one. One they can bash you in and one they can belong to.
Gentlemen! I know you're all worried, and I agree. There's plenty to be worried about, like this solar power plant.
Already operational outside Los Angeles. Photovoltaic cells. They convert sunlight directly into electricity. Fluorescent. Lasts 10 times as long as a conventional light bulb. Uses only a quarter of the power. Super windows. Insulate as well as 10 sheets of glass. An electric car. Partially powered by solar panels.
But the truth is, gentlemen, I'm not worried about any of these things. Because no one's ever going to know about